Welcome to the 10 Acre Woods. My name's Mark, and it looks like we've jumped right over spring and are now into summer, which is great. Now people can complain that it's too hot instead of too cold. This is usually the case. So today I want to talk about our new greenhouse we're building. If you've been watching our videos, you will have seen last year we bought all of the racking in I think it was a HomeSense, a Hudson's Bay. I think HomeSense is the name brand, a bay store that was closing. So Tara went and contacted them, and we bought a whole bunch of racking. We removed all that racking from the store and brought it out to the farm. Now we have sold off some of it, and we did make our money back on it, but we still have quite a bit of racking. Now this was actually 3 piles the same height only a few days ago, so we're starting to eat away at this kind of racking here, and what we've done is they're 12-foot lengths, and we'll go over there in a little bit and I'll show you how we put that together. And we've cut them in half into 6 foot, and we've used 2 going up the wall and then across to the peak, and then another one to match that up. And then we've used, there's a whole bunch of brackets all down here that we're using, and we're welding those together. This is all racking here. But before we get to that, I am going to go give you a little update on the animals. All of our baby goats now have names. So I know in previous videos I was calling them the nameless Petunia kids. She has a male and a female, but they all have names now, and we've got a change in one of the goats' names. So everybody's kind of hanging out in the shade because it is fairly warm in the sun. So we have Coco over here, and we've got Baxter there. And this one here we've been calling Shelby because it looks quite a bit like Sheldon. But her name is now going to be April. So there's the change. Maybe because she was born in April, but the people who have claimed her for her new home, they've kind of, well, they didn't care for the name Shelby, I guess. So they went with April. They did come up with the name Baxter. And there's Sheldon there. Hey, Sheldon. So we usually hold off on the naming of the goats, hi bud, with the exception, of course, of Shelby, because she reminded us so much of little Sheldon. And then we have Hazel here, so Hazel's doing well. They all had their first 2 sessions of goat yoga, so we started yesterday, and then we had another one this morning. And then we have Moira, which is still a little skittish. So they're in the shade, and then we have Holly. Holly's here in the shade. It's now hot, isn't it, Holly? It looks like the other ones are inside. Oh, there's George. Hi, George. How you doing, bud? Daisy. Daisy's coat has, her winter coat's kind of come out, and she's actually looking really good. So she's got some really good weight on her. And Clyde, little Clyde here. All right, so we have Clyde, and we have Bonnie, which is right there, which are Blackie's 2 kids. Bonnie and Clyde. There's Blackie there. Now Petunia. So Petunia's kid from last year's Billie Jean here, and she seems to be just throwing out the same colors. And then we have her 2 kids. Oh, and the loud roosters like always. So these 2 kids' names are, let me get this is the female, so this is Molly, and this is the little boy, and this is Melvin. So we have Melvin and Molly. So now everybody's got names. And look at this. Look at all the goat bums. Hi, guys. So these are the 3 that came in a couple weeks ago, and they actually were a really good hit at goat yoga. I don't know what they're... are you guys getting the fresh stuff? This is Dwight here. And then we have Toby. And we have Charlotte. So these guys are very friendly, and they came in here. There was a woman that had to move out of her home, off of her homestead. She had to move in with her parents, but of course she can't take the goats with her. So she's currently, assessing everything in hopes that she can get a place and she can take her babies back. Oh, Fernando. You've gone so long without seeing visitors, and now they're starting to come by, aren't they? Yes. Are you sick of seeing just us? It's hot, isn't it? Just panting. So Fernando's the only turkey here on yard. We did have some females last year. He did manage to have one young, but he didn't really pay too much attention to the females. So we decided to send them off to another local farm. The ducks have been enjoying the pond. We've got the alpacas out over on the other side of the pond there. We're contemplating on shearing them in June along with the sheep. So ducks here, some of these ducks will actually be going as well. So we've got these two here that look like mallards, are actually called rowan. And then we have, two more rowan there, and I believe this one's called an Ancona. So I think all of these guys over here are Muscovies. And we are discouraging them from making nests. Because, we don't need these Muscovies. When they populate, we've got to put them inside during the winter time, and so we don't really need them to be having more young. We've got quite a few, and we've gotten them in because people have gotten them, and winter comes and it's cold, and they don't realize that they actually have to be inside. Once it gets down to the minus 10 degrees Celsius, that's about all that they can handle. So we usually get them in because they've lost a couple and they weren't quite set up for it. And then our geese, geese and ducks. So we have a pekin. I think that is, no, that's not Fred. Fred, I think, has that might be Fred. And then we have a Czech goose here. Another Czech, actually these two are Czechs. And then we have the Chinese geese over here. So we did lose one of the trio of Chinese geese to the coyote that came by. We haven't seen the coyote now in probably almost 2 weeks. So we're hoping that he has moved on, or he did get shocked by the electric fence and decided to rethink things. The peafowl, or the peahens, the two that we have in here, were going to be going to another home, but I think there's a hold on them. Oh, actually, I think that's Fred there. With the little tuft. He's the boss. Are you the boss, buddy? Coming into the building here, we have the sheep. The sheep are trying to stay cool. I know you got that winter coat on, but that's probably isolating or insulating from some of that heat, because when you get out in the sun and it's beating down on your skin, it can feel really hot. But they will be getting sheared, it's nearing the end of May, so probably in the next two to 3 weeks. So we'll have to check with Tara. She usually does the organizing on that. So this here's Tinker. Bronwyn here doesn't get sheared because she is a haired sheep. So she just doesn't get the wool that the others do, which are Canadian Arcot sheep, which is this breed. This is Hannibal here, Hungry Hannibal. So he's an older boy, 12-ish years old, and that's that's pushing it for sheep. So he's about 12, 13 years old, we figure. And then Turbo. Turbo's only about 4 and a half. We'll go 4 and a half. And I forgot Flora. Hi, Flora. So of course she was sheared and there were some complications with her partner, and he had passed away due to some other health issues. But of course, the shearing just kind of stacked the issues onto each other. So he got a little bit of a chill, and he passed away. So she brought him to, or her, to us. And if she's fine with taking her back, George will probably go with her. I don't know how well you can hear that. The pigeons making their cooing noise. Wow, that's a big pigeon. Rooster. Okay, so here's some of the pigeon. We got pigeon years ago. Actually, they were fancy pigeons. Pigeons. I'm gonna learn how to talk here. And they were old German owl, lacquer shield pigeons. Can't think of the other one. Capuchin pigeons. And they're a fancy breed. And we thought, oh, that'd be cool. Let's get some of them. And I think I just got buzzed. And we put them up when we lived in our mobile home. We had actually built this big cage in our master bedroom. And we had them in there. And, you could hear the cooing at night and in the morning, you wake up and I don't know, we just moved to the country, and it was kind of nice. But, of course, like anything, once the honeymoon's over, it's like, okay, yeah, the cooing thing, it's getting old, guys. So that's when we had moved them out. And then years ago, there was a crow that took out most of our pigeons, actually all of our pigeons. And we thought, well, let's get some more pigeons again. So we got a handful of them, I think maybe half a dozen. And they bred, and we had tons of them. So we let a bunch of them out last year. We had some inside, and we've still got a few inside. But they're so nice to come out in the morning and you see them flying around, doing their little tricks in the air. And they stick to this area. I'm sure a few of them have flown off, but it's just nice to see. Here's the, she's hiding. This is how geese hide. So this is a female. She's likely, well, sometimes she might be sitting on an egg, or she might be trying to lay an egg, but she's now in hiding position. You can't see me. The worst thing is, though, she is laying eggs in, like this is the pig bed. So this is where the pigs sleep. And as soon as the pigs find an egg, well, they're just going to eat it. But that's fine. So we don't need to breed any more geese either. Piper, how you doing? Look at that tail wagging. Are you happy, pig? Are you happy, pig? You're probably saying, oh, we got food? And then she's going to be disappointed. Yeah, I know, I don't. Maybe I should have brought something, right? Yeah. So one interesting thing about the pigs is when these two, Petey, which is probably back in the hay pile, Petey and Piper came in 4 years ago, 3 years ago I think it was, and very overweight. And it's surprising how, as time goes on, you don't notice the weight loss until you see some old photos of them or some old video. So they've done very well. Now, one thing they have done is they will go and they will dig up some ground. This is some newly cleared as of last year, so the grass hasn't started growing in this area yet. But back in the back area where we have cleared and there is grass, we have noticed that they have been rooting that grass up. And of course, Tara at first was upset. She's like, oh, these pigs, they're rooting. We can't have that. They're going to just destroy everything. But what she didn't realize is they're rooting for grubs. And now they've stopped rooting in that area because they ate all the grubs. And the grubs of June bugs, which Tara hates June bugs. So in the end, it was actually a good thing. And they're no longer digging things up again. I see Little Meadow making her rounds. I did see Levi. They've been running. Of course, Daisy is out of it. Daisy's just, she's having a little relax in the sun. She's like, nah, I'm good. She does run. She's doing much better. Oh, there they are there. They're coming in. She's doing much better, but she just can't keep up with these two. Oh, time for a drink? People love her little blue eyes, hey? You are a cutie. So she is, well, I guess just over a year old now. And Levi is about 4. Oh, where'd he go? He went into the barn, into the shelter. Hey, Levi, did you have a good run? I bet you did. Time to eat now. He ate all the hay this morning. We usually put the hay in here. Some of it does spill out onto the ground, so I guess he's just getting some leftovers now. Okay, so here's a good example. Piper just went in. She's gonna go in and lie down. And of course, yeah, the goose is hiding. You can't see me. Oh, what do we have here? So if you remember from an older video, we had some ducks. This is actually a Muscovy egg. You can see that waxy film. You can see how it's scratched off on the tip there. So what we had done is we had removed the egg, and Tara had these fake rubber eggs that were weighted. And she figured, okay, well, we'll just put it down there and then she'll be fine and happy. Well, long behold, a crow comes in and steals it. So that's the problem. The other problem we've been having, the pigs have been eating some of the eggs, which is fine because we don't really need to hatch out anymore. But the crows have been taking the Muscovy eggs. And I actually had, I didn't have my camera with me, but I went out and witnessed a crow and a female Muscovy. Basically, she was warding them off, get away from my nest. And they can be, you know, they can be pretty stand up and be pretty aggressive. And that crow did take off, but eventually, you know, he comes back when she's over getting a drink of water or something and steals the egg. So yeah, it's kind of funny. They stole a rubber weighted egg. Wow, I'm actually sweating. So that's kind of a nice feeling. Means it's warmer. Now the boys, the stud goats, Billy and Carl. I'm not sure where Carl is, but here's Billy. Hey, Billy. They were last week. They were up front and you know, hanging out up front where they usually do during the day. So, and they didn't actually get into the video. Where's your dad? Where's Carl? Hey? Yeah, such a cute boy, aren't you? A little stinky sometimes. Oh, there's Carl. Nah, he's not too far away. So they have this whole front area, which is probably, I'm gonna guess 2 to 2.25-ish acres. So they've got quite a bit of space up here. This is where the donkeys were a few months ago. But of course they went off to another home, and we got an update from them. So they're doing really well and socializing with people much better. Hey, bud. At least your horns are even now. He broke them off last year. Because you're so rough with them, aren't you, bud? Yeah. So as I mentioned last week, I picked up a welder. I haven't really actually done welding before, but I'm an electronic technician by trade. So I've done tons of soldering. And when I was younger, I did some work for a steel fabrication company and used a plasma cutter. So, you know, I've kind of used both ends of the spectrum. So it wasn't too bad. I watched a couple YouTube videos and got a little technique figured out, and it was a cinch. So this area here, this is some of the other racking that we've actually set up. Tara set this up as a little gate. So that's kind of cute. And so you just open this up, and then there's some smaller shelving in here. That she's kind of, they hook into place with these little hooks onto the wire. So she's built this neat little shelving in here. She does have a bale on the bottom. I'm not exactly sure what she's planning on doing with that. We haven't sowed any plants in the garden as of yet. But I think with this weather, I think she's going to be starting that right away. So we do use dirt, good quality dirt, and then alpaca and rabbit poop on top. So this is the second year. And I think what we're going to have to do, I talked to Tara about this, we're probably going to have to build some wood structures on each side of that, because as they decompose, it's going to start to turn into a mound. So she's got them all along here. and right around the deck here. So what we're planning on doing is the greenhouse is going to be built on the other side. Well, we'll get to that in a second. But the framing, as it is right now, is going to be covering this area here, all along this end of the deck. And I think she even wants to go along here. So this will all be enclosed, and we'll go over and we'll have a look at the structure that we built yesterday. And you'll get a better sense of it. So here it is. It's quite strong. These are 2-foot sections. So it's 6 foot coming up and then basically 6 foot to the peak. So what we've done is we've cut at the 6 foot point. We've bent it over and hooked on these posts that they just the same kind of deal as the ones over that we just looked at. So the hooked shelving units. We tested it out, and they were very strong, but we didn't want them to pop out. So we ended up welding them into place here so that these are completely secure and they're not going to come out. So we've got those two there, and then of course we've got the two on the top holding the two pieces together. Put a little tack weld on the top. Most of the weight is being hung on these crossbars anyway. And then of course the same thing with the other end. So these are 2-foot sections. I believe there is 13 of them, if I recall. And then what we'll do is the gap between them we are going to bring together and probably bolt them in. And then we're going to take poly, we're going to put poly and cover the entire structure. But of course we're going to have to put something on the top here. Something like carpeting, like a strip of carpeting to go along the peak, as well as the corners, so we don't get any tearing happening with that. So stay tuned for updates there. Now there's Tara there. Wave, Tara. There she goes. There's some people here for our open farm. Yeah, it's just after 1 o'clock, so we're open now from 1 to 4 with social distancing. The way this looks here right now is going to be a tunnel here, and then of course we won't have, well, you know, in the beginning we're not going to have, we may change it later on by putting poly on it, but the whole idea is she wants to use this to grow up and then have the vegetables hanging down from that on the vine plants. So we'll see how that goes. So that is our greenhouse. So I think I'm going to go into the house and put on some shorts because I'm wearing jeans. And I think jean season is pretty much over. It's time for some shorts. So I hope you liked this video, a little update on the animals, and then our garden area here as well. We'll give you updates on that greenhouse as we build it. I think we're going to be finishing that section off tomorrow, holiday Monday, so it's a holiday here in Canada. We'll probably finish building those then, and then it's a matter of getting the poly. I know Tara's reached out to some poly manufacturers, and we may end up just going and buying some 6mm construction grade poly, but we'll update you that next week. Take care and have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.